If you're planning to buy a home, don't overlook property taxes. You know, it's easy to get caught up in a lot of things when you're thinking about buying a home. You've got to research neighborhoods and schools and find a home with the right number of bedrooms and bathrooms and so on. And property taxes can be confusing. Because we don't normally think about them or perhaps have never had the time to do the research, the way property taxes are calculated may seem like an inscrutable mystery. And making it even more perplexing is that the amount of property taxes you pay depends on where you live, the county, the city, sometimes even the neighborhood. Adding to the confusion is that you may be paying not one, but two property tax bills. But don't worry. In this video, we're going to discuss how property taxes are calculated in the state of Tennessee, see how they are applied in Hamilton County, where Chattanooga is located, take a look at different tax rates in Hamilton County, and touch on when taxes are due. We'll also discuss how you might potentially reduce your property taxes through various state, county, and city tax relief programs, so stay tuned. Hi, this is Robert C. Baker with Move to Chattanooga and United Real Estate Experts, and thanks for watching. You know, I've mentioned in prior videos that when people think about Chattanooga, they usually think about Tennessee's fourth largest city that's chock full of natural beauty, has a pro-business environment, a vibrant culinary and art scene, and quite a number of really good coffee shops and breweries. And they'd be right. But what they may not know is that the county in which Chattanooga is situated, Hamilton County, Tennessee, has 9 other cities, as well as areas in the county that are unincorporated. Just like Chattanooga, each of those cities is worth exploring, particularly if you're wanting to buy or sell a home in the greater Chattanooga, Tennessee area. In fact, on this channel, you can find videos on some of those cities and neighborhoods that might interest you. But let's turn our attention to property taxes. Now, the following information has been gleaned from the Tennessee State Comptroller of the Treasury, and I'll leave a link to the Comptroller's website in the description below. According to the Comptroller's webpage, there are 4 components in property taxes in the state of Tennessee. The first is the appraised value, the second is the assessment ratio, the third is the assessed value, and then finally there is the tax rate. Now, in Tennessee, county tax assessors determine the appraised values for taxable property in the county in which you live. The county tax assessor for Hamilton County at the time of this video is Marty Haynes, and I'll also leave a link to his website in the description below. Again, the first component is the actual appraised value. In Hamilton County, property tax rates are determined by the assessor and the County Board of Commissioners. Property taxes are reevaluated every 4 years. So if you're buying a home in Hamilton County prior to 2026, most likely the info you'll see on property taxes on the tax assessor's website and the Hamilton County Trustee's website will be correct. But if you plan to make an offer on a home in Hamilton County, be sure to verify the amount of property taxes through those offices or through your title company. Now, while the tax assessor along with the commission sets the tax rate, the county trustee, at the time of this video, Bill Hollander, collects the taxes for Hamilton County as well as for the cities of Chattanooga, Collegedale, East Ridge, Lakeside, Red Bank, Ridgeside, Soddy Daisy, and Walden. To look up your county tax bill, you can log on to the county trustee's website, and I'll leave a link in the description below. More about those cities in just a bit, but I wanted to mention that here because if the county trustee collects your city's taxes, that means that you will have one tax bill, one bill that you will pay each year. If not, you'll have 2 property tax bills, one coming from your city and the other coming from Hamilton County. And if you live in an unincorporated area, you'll also have only one county property tax bill. Again, the first component is the appraised value of the home as determined by the county property tax assessor. So let's look at an example. I've taken a look at a home in the city of Signal Mountain, Tennessee that is currently listed for sale for $500,000. The homeowners pay both city and county property taxes. Let's just call it 123 Main Street. So we see the appraisal year is 2022, the land appraised for $60,000, the home appraised for $201,900 for a total tax appraisal of $261,900, and I've added that amount here. The second component used in calculating your tax bill is the assessment ratio based on different property classes. So for our purposes, we're concerned with residential real estate, not commercial real estate. The state of Tennessee determines the assessment ratio for different classes of property. For residential property and farms, the assessment ratio is 25% of the appraised value, and I've added that here. The third component is the assessed value, which is determined by multiplying the appraised value value by the assessment ratio. Simple multiplication. And as you can see here, the assessed value, $261,900 times 1/4, is $65,475. And the fourth component is the tax rate. So here I've plugged in the tax rate for Signal Mountain and for Hamilton County. Combined, that's 3.9385 per $100 of assessed value. That brings the total tax bill for this property for Signal Mountain and Hamilton County property taxes to $2578.73. Again, the assessment ratio is determined by the state. Tax rates are determined by the county tax assessor and county commission and the city council, if applicable, based on the money needed to provide services according to those respective governmental budgets. And these tax rates are going to vary depending on a few things, including the level of services provided and the total value of the tax base. Now, let's circle back just a bit. Remember I said that there were 10 cities in Hamilton County, Tennessee, including the city of Chattanooga. Each of these cities have different municipal tax rates, and you just saw the municipal rate for Signal Mountain. Let's take a brief look at the other municipal tax rates, and just like before, I'll leave a link to this information in the description below. So let's take a look at the city of Chattanooga. The property tax rate for this city is 2.25, and again, the tax rate for Hamilton County is 2.2373. That gives us a combined tax rate of 4.4873. So like before, let's apply what we've learned to a property located in North Shore in the city of Chattanooga. The property is listed at $500,000 as in the previous example, so let's call this property 456 Oak Street. Again, the appraisal year 2022, appraised land $150, improvements $185,300 for a total tax appraisal of $335,300. And you see I've gone ahead and added everything here just as I did with the prior example. You'll see the tax rates for the city of Chattanooga and Hamilton County per $100 of value, giving us a total tax bill, including the city of Chattanooga and Hamilton County, of $3,761.48. Note two things. First, as a rule of thumb, the city of Chattanooga's property tax is similar to Hamilton County's tax rate. Second, note that in the examples provided, there is an $1,182.75 difference in annual property taxes between those two properties. That's about $100 per month. That's why you need to know the tax rates and how much property taxes you'll be paying, especially if you're planning to buy a home in Hamilton County. It can make a big difference. As I mentioned, there are areas in Hamilton County that are unincorporated, lying outside of cities, and you can find some of those near Walden and Soddy Daisy and near Harrison in Ooltewah. Even if a city is listed as part of your mailing address, check to see if your property lies within city limits or within an unincorporated area. Some folks move into unincorporated areas in Hamilton County specifically because they want to pay only county property taxes. If that's you, leave me a comment below. So, what about due dates? When are property taxes due? In Hamilton County, your property tax bill will be mailed around the end of September. Property taxes covering the current year are due and payable from October the 1st to the last day of February the following year. If you don't pay your property taxes, your tax bill becomes delinquent on March 1st of the next year. Interest charged on a delinquent tax bill is pretty steep. For Hamilton County, it's 18%, almost like a credit card, and cities like Chattanooga charge additional penalties on their portion of your tax bill. Please note that if your property tax delinquency totals 4 years, your property can be sold at a tax sale. You'll still have 1 year to redeem the property by paying the delinquent taxes and all fees and interest owed. Best to pay your tax bill on or before the due date. Also note that if you want to dispute your tax bill, you have the right to appeal. You'll need to provide supporting evidence and a justification to have your bill amended. To begin the process, contact the Hamilton County Assessor of Properties office, who can provide more information. What about property tax exemptions and property tax relief? Fortunately, like many other states and municipalities, there are a number of programs for low-income seniors, disabled homeowners, disabled veteran homeowners, and survivors of disabled veteran homeowners in Hamilton County. You can find property tax relief information on the Tennessee Comptroller of the Treasury's website. The Tennessee Tax Relief Program reimburses qualifying homeowners for part or all of paid property taxes, but it's not an exemption. You'll still be billed for your property taxes and responsible for paying them each year. Again, you can find a link to the Comptroller's website in the description below. Additionally, Hamilton County provides property tax relief up to half of the state's amount of relief. In order to apply, your property taxes must be up to date, and you have 35 days after your tax delinquent date to apply. If accepted, you'll get a voucher, which you'll submit to the tax collector when you pay your balance. The City of Chattanooga administers the Tennessee State Tax Relief Program. If you qualify and live in the City of Chattanooga, a link to Chattanooga's tax relief webpage is in the description below. You may also apply for the Stormwater Fee Assistance Program through the United Way. Now that's a separate application which will need to be submitted to the City Treasurer's Office. The City of Chattanooga also administers the state's property tax freeze program, which is available in the city of Chattanooga but not the rest of Hamilton County. Qualifying homeowners can have their property taxes on their primary residence frozen at the base rate or the rate when the application was approved. To qualify for the tax freeze program at the time of this video, the primary residence must be within the city limits of Chattanooga, the homeowner must be 65 years of age or older, and the combined household income must be less than $42,920. Again, a link to the city's tax relief webpage can be found in the description below. Want a step-by-step guide to moving to the greater Chattanooga, Tennessee area? Watch this video next.